Hello and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Irma and you can find me on YouTube, Ravelry and Instagram as Wolwerkjes. And before I forget, because I forgot it the last time, I also opened a Ravelry group. Personally, I prefer Instagram for communication, but I know there are people that prefer Ravelry, so I made a group especially for this podcast. It's quite empty now. I think I made a introduction thread and I think that's it. But maybe it will fill up and maybe there will be in the future maybe knit-alongs or giveaways. So I thought it would be a good idea to make this group. So if you're interested in following along there as well, please join, and you can find it by searching in the groups tab for, I think I named it Wolwerkjes podcast, but I think when you search Wolwerkjes you will find my account, and through my account you can find the group as well, I think. So I think you will manage. If you don't, please leave a message that you can't find it and I will help you to find it. And when I think of it, I will put a link to the group in the down bar below, so that makes it even easier to find it. Also, don't hesitate to message me on Instagram if you have any questions, or leave a comment down here. Okay, knitting. Well, first I have to say I did quite some knitting also on my test knits, which I can't show again. Oh, it's getting boring to tell, but it's just a thing I'm working on now, so that's why I mention it every time. I did also other knitting and I will show you. It's not that much and I will tell you why. Because my eldest son had a small operation. He had his, I don't know how you call it, but you have like things in your throat for your resistance, and they were swollen and didn't go back to normal, so they removed it. And he was really, he had a sore throat afterwards, and he was needing a lot of care, and that took away a lot of my knitting time. And he's all better now, he's eating again, luckily. It's really hard when your children don't eat. It's really hard to keep encouraging them without forcing them. So that's over, he's eating again and he's happy again and he's going back to school again, so that's all nice. But that's the reason why there is less knitting this week. I worked a little on my sock, not that much, it's still not finished, but I will show you. It's a micro striping yarn I dyed myself. It was a test for the placement of the stripes, and I learned a lot out of it, and I really like the color, so I think I will either I will make something again with these colors. I wrote down the colors I used. I'm not sure if I will do it in this way, but we will see. But I really like how the colors worked out. And I did a heel flap and gusset, so that's why the color repeat has changed over here. That's what you get when you make your rows shorter and then longer, so that's fine. I knew at the moment I was going to put the heel in, I knew that this was gonna happen, that I would mess up the repeat, and it was a conscious decision and I like it. I like how the heel flap is looking. So that's that. And again, it was a test for some micro striping ideas I had. So it's also always useful to test things for yourself. I really like the base of this yarn. I have quite some colors on this base left in the shop, I think. It's a Corriedale base. And it's sold as a high twist. It's quite a high twist. I don't know if I can show you, but it's really high twisted yarn. And they say it's strong enough for socks. I have not yet, I've used this base, but I have not yet used it for socks, and I'm very curious how well it will hold up. It feels very strong, and Corriedale has a longer fiber than, for example, merino, so that should give it a little bit more strength as well. So those were my socks. I really should finish them. They're almost done. This first one, at least. It's really slow at the moment, my sock knitting. I don't know why. Because it's hot weather. And in hot weather everybody knits small. Not everybody, but most people knit small things. And I'm not finishing them. So I don't know how that comes. I had another project on which I made quite some progress. And let me see if I can take it out of its bag. I don't know if you guys remember this skein. As you can see, it's in use. There is quite some yarn used already. And last episode I talked about a shawl I want to knit out of it with beads. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's frosted apples or something. I will put it underneath in the screen. It's a nice pattern in the way that it's not that difficult. It's quite forthgoing. It's not, especially the beginning, because the beginning is just a garter segment with increases on the side, so you get a crescent shape when you block this. A crescent shape is always something you only get with blocking. You get the main shape when you knit it, but you only get the really curved and straight line when you block the shawl or scarf, how you want to call it. The first piece is only garter and increasing on both sides, so that's really easy. And then comes in the lace and the beads, because it's a pattern with beading, and I'm looking, this is the right side. I don't know if it will show up, but you have the beads in there, and it's quite an easy lace pattern. It's just yarn overs and knits and purls, knit two together, knit, slip slip knit. Oh, they don't do the slip slip knit, they do it different. They do like slip, knit one, and then slip the purl stitch over. And I was looking at how it looks. I was looking at how it looks. No, I was analyzing how this creates lines in your knitting, because slip slip knit and knit two together, they give like lines in your knitting. They give direction to your stitches, to your decreasing of stitches. And I was looking at how it affects it, and I think that when I do a slip slip knit, it gives the same effect, but I'm not 100% sure, so I will just keep doing what the pattern says I have to do. but I think it gives exactly the same effect. And I think slip slip knit is an easier motion for me. It's like one motion I can do to make this stitch, and this is a little bit more fiddly maybe. But yeah, it's fun to put in the beads. I don't think they show up very well because it's so see-through. But here is a bead, and here is a bead. And it's fun to do. And this was something that was easy to pick up and put away again without losing the point where I am. And with my test knit, it needs a little bit more attention, so that wasn't a good knit in the first days that my son was sick. So I picked this up and I really like it, and I really had to put it down to work on the other project again because it's quite addictive, because I think the beads appear every 6 rows or so, so you're knitting to the next beaded row, and yeah, it's fun to do. Do I recommend this pattern? That depends on how much knitting experience you have and what you want in a shawl. For beginners, I should say, although I said it's quite easy and mindless, that's because I understand how the shape is made and how a little bit of easy lace works. But the pattern isn't really clear, isn't as clear written as could be. And I miss some dimensions, and I miss some explanations about the lace repeats, so how many stitches there are in a repeat. It's not written down, you have a chart so you can count, but those are things that when you want to make an adjustment, it's nice to know how many stitches should I have more or less to make the shawl a little bit different. Not that a beginner makes it different, but I think it's important information to give. And the chart is quite clear. They only don't... It's a one-sided lace, so you only have to work different stitches in the right side row, and the wrong side row is just purling back. Only there's nowhere in the pattern just saying the wrong side is just purling back. They say that the chart only shows the right side, and that's but they never say what to do on the wrong side row. And I figured it out, and it's not really complicated, but I can understand that when you're really a beginner or it's your first lace project, that you can be a little bit confused in what you should do. So I don't think it's a great pattern in that way. I think it's nice when you want something easy on the mind that still gives a nice effect. What annoys me a bit is, as you can see, here starts the lace, and here you have a stockinette on the right side, and those are your ridges from your garter stitch, because you only do knit stitches on both the right side and the wrong side, so you get those you get this structure. And I don't know, I think they could have done a little bit more with it. So they could have let the lace more appear from this garter stitch instead of just in a line. You really see a transformation between the main part and the lace part. And I think that could have been done much neater, but again, it's a free pattern. So You can't expect everything from a free pattern. It's quite a job to write a good pattern. So very happy with the person that puts this up, because it's really fun to knit and nice, nice enough looking, so I will be happy with it. But if you want really a nice lace shawl that's perfect and within every detail, I think maybe you should search for a paid pattern. There was another thing in the that annoyed me a little bit when I was looking at the pictures in the pattern itself, so not on the pattern page on Ravelry, but the printed pattern itself. There was one picture that I was drawn to and made me choose to knit this pattern. And when I was looking at the charts, they were different than what I saw in this picture. Because in this picture the beads went all through the lace parts onto the border. There are also some beads in the border, I think. And in the chart for the shawl, the beads were only in the beginning part of the lace. So I had to look at the picture and look at the chart and had to figure out where I should put the beads if I want the same effect as in the photo. And I think everybody has the freedom of adjusting a pattern or choosing to leave things away in a pattern because it's too much work or whatever. But the picture of the pattern should match the pattern you're giving, I think. I think that's quite a normal thing to want in a pattern, that the picture you see is actual the pattern that's knitted and not an adjustment of the pattern that is knitted. So that was also a little bit annoying, but I still love to knit this. It's a lot of complaining. I don't want to complain. I only don't want to talk about something here that I have some issues with and hear from other people afterwards that they had issues with it. I already knew. So that's for the people that think, oh, that's nice, watch out, it's nice, but it could be better. If you want to knit the pattern and can't figure out where to put the extra beads, I do want to help you with it, so that's no problem. And those projects are really the only ones I did this period after the last episode. I did knit on my test knit, and I can do like last time. I can just show you the bunch of wool, but I will not do that. It's a little bit annoying. I can say how far along I am. 2, 4, 6. 2, 4, 6. I'm almost halfway through the yarn I ordered. So that should mean I'm halfway through the pattern now, which I think can be quite true. So that means that I will still be able to finish it before the deadline. I really hope so. It's a shame if you are allowed to do a test knit and don't finish your knit, so I'm really gonna work on finishing that. I had one other finished object. I totally forgot about to mention it here. I finished the spinning of this color of yarn, and I really like the color. It's really the maximum amount of yarn this spindle can have. It's 50 grams and it's getting a little bit too heavy to support the yarn I was spinning. I was spinning quite fine. I don't know if you can see that, but the spindle is at this point so heavy that it almost breaks the yarn when I spin it. So more than this is not going on the spindle. I don't have any left of this color, so it's also all I have. And I'm now spinning again on the dark blue color. I will get the spindle so you can see. I bought those two colors together. I'm now spinning on this. It's a really dark blue color. I really love this color. It's on one of my handmade spindles. It's not perfect, but it's doing the job quite well. And I bought those two colors together. And my first thought was plying them together. And I think that will be nice, but because I love the dark blue so much, I'm afraid to ruin it by plying it with a light color. So maybe I will just keep them separate and maybe do a chain ply or a 2-ply. The only thing is, when I want to make a 2-ply out of this yarn, I have to cake it up and ply from the inside and the outside of the cake to make a 2-ply. And I did that once and it got really messy. But I like the look of a 2-ply. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. But I think I'm not going to ply them together. Maybe I will, I don't know. But I love this dark color so much. I don't want to ruin it. So I think I will just ply them each separate and maybe make a project with both the colors in it. That's also a possibility. But I almost forgot to talk about this. So I also did spinning. My boys really like to watch spinning. So that's really fun. And I think my oldest son is 4 now. He's going to be 5 in October. And I think within somewhere in the next year maybe I can learn him a little bit of drop spindling with scrap fiber or something. And spindle, I don't mind that when he drops it, because I don't want him to ruin my spindles. Maybe I can make a little spindle for him and then he can do it himself, because he really likes watching it. And I'm really thinking hard if there is anything else. There's one thing, I'm going to make needle cozies for the shop. And I'm doing some experimental dyes with the colors I have to... I always mix my own colors out of the primaries, so it takes a little bit more time to get to some colors I want. And I'm experimenting a little bit with some colors, and the dyed up skeins I get from those will appear in the shop as well when I think they are good enough to sell. The only thing is they are not repeatable, so they're just for me to have a little bit of experience with the colors, to play with the colors, and that's really fun and good to do, but they're not going to be repeatable, so I won't be able to give you a sweater's quantity in those colors or anything like that, but it's fun to look, and you know you really have a unique skein of yarn, so that's always fun, I think. Future knitting, I don't think I have anything really planned, because the test knit is taking, again the test knit is taking so much of my brain space that I can't really think of what I want to do afterwards. Only the Versus Night Shawl by Stephen West is really in my head because the skeins of yarn are looking at me every day on my coffee table. So that's really something I want to cast on soon. And another thing is that my Cozy Memories blanket is really calling my name at the moment. And I didn't pick it up because I wanted to finish other things, like the socks for example. But maybe this afternoon I will think, screw you all. And I will just screw my projects, by the way, not you as a watcher. But yeah, maybe I will just think I will just knit a little bit of my Cozy Memories blanket because it's been a really long time. And it's fun to see all those old scraps of yarn and thinking about all the projects you made so far. So maybe I will do that. I also have to clean the house. Priorities. Hard to make a decision. Yeah, I think that's the only thing I have to talk about. It's a really short episode. That's what it is this week, and I hope to see you back again in 2 weeks. Bye!